What do you call a man who promises the world but delivers nothing? What do you call someone who claims to be a champion but hides behind fabricated titles? What do you call a self-proclaimed prophet of masculinity who built his empire by exploiting the very men he claimed to save? Some call him an influencer, some call him a genius, some call him dangerous. But in reality, Andrew Tate is something much simpler. A paper champion. A man whose empire of wealth, cars, women and bravado was nothing more than a mirage, smoke and mirrors projected onto millions of screens. And like every mirage, once the light changed, it vanished. This is the story of Andrew Tate, his rise, his lies, his empire, his arrest, and his inevitable fall. Andrew Tate's mythology begins with chess. His father, Emory Tate, was indeed a gifted player, respected in the chess community for his creativity and daring style. Tate leaned heavily on this legacy. He told stories of growing up surrounded by brilliance, of being molded by a father who was supposedly one of the greatest minds in the game. But here lies the first crack. Emory was not a grandmaster as Tate claimed. He was an international master, a strong title, but not the legendary peak. Tate blurred the line between truth and exaggeration, crafting a story that made his childhood sound mythical. He claimed he won the Indiana State Championship at age 5. Inspiring? Yes. Verifiable? Number. This habit of rewriting history wasn't just childhood bravado, it was the beginning of a lifelong pattern. Andrew Tate understood early on, if the story sounds good, it doesn't matter if it's true. In 2016, Tate's first taste of mainstream fame came on the UK reality show Big Brother. At first, he fit the role perfectly, brash, cocky, the bad boy character producers love. But within days, old videos surfaced online. Clips appeared to show Tate hitting women with a belt. The footage was disturbing enough to spark outrage. Tate claimed it was consensual role play. The women involved later gave conflicting accounts, but the damage was done. He was kicked off the show. Most people would have retreated, embarrassed. Tate didn't. He realized something crucial. Controversy is a weapon. Outrage equals attention. Attention equals money. And from that moment on, he embraced being hated. If people loathed him, good. Tate's next move was to amplify his fighting career. He had competed in kickboxing since the late 2000s, winning belts in organizations like ISKA and Infusion. Respectable titles, but far from the top tier of combat sports. Yet online he transformed these into a legend. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a 4-time world champion. To casual fans, this sounded like he had conquered the sport's highest levels. Few bothered to fact-check. The truth? His record, 76 wins, 9 losses, was solid but unremarkable. His championships came from regional circuits, not the global stage. But Tate knew perception mattered more than reality. With the world champion badge, he could claim authority, and authority sells. With the fighter's mask in place, Tate launched the persona that would make him infamous, the alpha male. He cultivated a lifestyle brand dripping with excess. Lamborghinis, private jets, custom suits, sparkling watches, luxury villas. He posed with cigars, women, and stacks of cash. His message was simple but powerful. I have everything you want, and I can teach you how to get it. It wasn't just the visuals, it was the philosophy. He declared that modern men were weak, feminized, controlled by society. He presented himself as the antidote, a man outside the system, fearless, dominant, unapologetic. This message resonated deeply with millions of young men. Some saw him as a role model, others saw him as entertainment. But either way, they shared his videos endlessly. And thus, a global phenomenon was born. Tate didn't rise by accident. His fame was engineered. Through Hustlers University's affiliate system, students were encouraged to post clips of Tate across TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. They were promised commissions for every new recruit they brought in. The result? Thousands of accounts flooding the internet with Tate content. Some clips were motivational, others were shocking or offensive, but all of them were designed to go viral. And viral they went. In 2022 alone, Tate's content racked up over 12 billion views on TikTok. He became impossible to ignore. Even those who despised him contributed to his fame by duetting, reacting, and criticizing. It was a masterclass in exploiting algorithms. When journalists and critics began exposing the exaggerations, Tate unveiled his greatest story, The Matrix. He told followers that powerful elites feared him, that the system was trying to silence him, that every ban, every accusation, every arrest was proof of his importance. It was brilliant propaganda. Doubt became loyalty. Critics became villains. Any attack against Tate wasn't evidence, it was confirmation. This tactic mirrored cult leaders and conspiracy theorists throughout history. By framing himself as the victim of shadowy forces, he made his followers feel like warriors in a bigger battle. But propaganda only works for so long. Tate portrayed his move to Romania as heroic. He said the West was corrupt, controlled, weak. Romania, he claimed, was freer, more traditional, more masculine. But hidden in his old videos was a darker truth. He admitted he liked Romania because the justice system was easier to manipulate, because corruption could be exploited, because it was a place where he could avoid consequences. This wasn't about freedom, it was about escape. And when Romanian police eventually came knocking, his fantasy of invincibility shattered. In December 2022, Andrew Tate's world collapsed. Romanian authorities raided his compound. He and his brother Tristan were arrested on charges of human trafficking, rape, and organized crime. The footage of them being led away in handcuffs went viral instantly. The internet exploded. Supporters cried foul, claiming it was the Matrix in action. Critics celebrated, saying justice had finally arrived. But one thing was undeniable: the empire of Andrew Tate was no longer in his control. The arrest triggered a wave of reflection. Former Hustlers University members came forward with confessions. Parents demanded action as schools reported students parroting Tate's misogynistic rhetoric. Governments debated his influence on young people. Platforms cracked down further, banning Tate across social media. Yet clips of him persisted, reposted endlessly by fans unwilling to let go. The fan base fractured. Some doubled down, convinced their hero was a martyr. Others admitted they had been deceived, ashamed of how much they had believed. The illusion was breaking, and with it, the alpha persona began to look less like strength and more like desperation. Andrew Tate's empire wasn't just a business, it was a cult of personality. The scandal wasn't confined to Romania. It rippled worldwide. In the UK, schools reported a surge of teenage boys idolizing Tate, parroting his misogyny. Teachers were forced to hold special sessions debunking his influence. In the US, commentators debated whether his rise reflected a crisis in masculinity. Some politicians even referenced him in speeches about youth culture. In countries across Asia and Africa, where unemployment and disillusionment run high, Tate's promise of wealth and dominance resonated powerfully. He became a global figure, for better or worse, but as the investigations mounted, his brand became radioactive. Even loyal fans began asking the hard questions. If the champion was a fraud, what did that make them? Beyond Hustlers University, Tate's empire included casinos in Romania, webcam businesses, and alleged money laundering schemes. Former employees claimed he exploited women, coercing them into sex work under promises of riches. Others accused him of running scams behind the scenes, laundering profits through his flashy businesses. While investigations continue, one fact is clear: the empire was never built on stability. It was built on manipulation, exploitation, and illusion. And illusions eventually collapse. Andrew Tate's story is shocking, but not unique. He followed a blueprint seen throughout history. Exaggerate achievements, sell identity instead of product, create enemies to strengthen loyalty, exploit insecurities for profit, distract with spectacle when cracks appear. From cult leaders to con artists, the playbook is always the same. Tate simply updated it for the digital age, weaponizing TikTok and affiliate marketing. But the lesson is timeless. The louder the performance, the weaker the truth. Andrew Tate promised to be the savior of men. He claimed to have secrets no one else dared to share. He flaunted wealth, women, and power as proof of his superiority. But in the end, the mask fell. Behind the cars and mansions was a manipulator. Behind the champion title was an unremarkable record. Behind Hustlers University was a pyramid scheme. Behind the alpha male was a man terrified of being ordinary. And perhaps that is the greatest scandal of all. Andrew Tate was never extraordinary. He was ordinary. Ordinary lies, ordinary scams, ordinary consequences. But in an age of social media, ordinary can look like legend, until the legend collapses. Today, Andrew Tate faces trial. His empire is fractured, his reputation is scarred. But the story doesn't end with him. The real danger is the next, Andrew Tate, waiting in the wings, ready to exploit the same insecurities, to sell the same illusions, to spin the same myths. Because as long as people are searching for identity, for wealth, for guidance, there will be manipulators ready to sell it. And unless we learn to see through the smoke and mirrors, the cycle will repeat. Andrew Tate is not the last paper champion, he is just the most infamous one of our time.